Happy MAAC game day. Happy Friday. I am Sam Fetterman. With me is head coach of the Manhattan Jaspers, John Gallagher. Coach, how are you doing today?
Sam, I'm doing phenomenal. How are you?
I'm doing great because in about 20 minutes, we have MAAC basketball coming up. So I know I'm excited to watch all of that. We've got 5 games tonight. The only team that's off is your Manhattan Jaspers. So what are your plans for tonight? Are you going to watch the rest of the games?
I am headed recruiting right now. I can't tell you where because that would be a violation, but I'm on the road recruiting in New York City with my assistant Anthony Duran. So we're out on the road recruiting right now. Not far, but we're local here in New York City.
So obviously you've recruited in Philly, you've recruited in Hartford, and you've obviously recruited in New York City before, but now as the coach at a New York City school, what's it like recruiting in New York, trying to convince kids to stay home? You still there? Did I
Work.
lose you?
You have to evaluate. You have to make sure guys fit the university, the college, the mission of the college. Uh, this is a special place. Obviously, we got to recruit locally. We got to get kids like Seydu, and we got to find guys that fit that. That could be first team all league guys and represent the school in a first class manner like Seydu does. So, um, that being said, we're out here trying to figure the puzzle out.
And the puzzle has been fairly complicated this year because you guys have dealt with plenty of injuries. Obviously, with Brett Rumpel going down in just the 5th game of the season, that kind of torpedoes a lot of what you guys wanted to do. You guys are missing Daniel Ruzin for a while as well. How have you navigated through the injuries?
You know what, Sam? I got done practice today, and the last 2 days of practice um, have been probably the 2 best we've had all year. So, I said to my staff first, their energy, my staff's energy has been unbelievable. So there's 2 things you do when you take over a program, which I've obviously done before. You have to build a culture, which is laying the foundation. And then secondly, your first year is you have to size up the league. You have to figure out what you need, what need from resource standpoint, facility standpoint, what can we upgrade to player standpoint, to the student athlete experience standpoint. So there's an array of things you have to do as a coach in evaluating your first year. Nothing is more important than the culture. So I can't tell you. I left practice today. It was like it felt like the first day of practice. To feel that way after having a month that we've had. Now we're healthy now. We're 100% healthy, obviously, other than Brett. But it was a practice. It was just the energy, the competitiveness, the intensity. It just bodes well for us. So I've done this before. It's why I'm sort of not in the blinking mode. That's why I come in every day excited. Sometimes I think my staff looks at me and thinks I'm nuts. But I, as I say to my staff every day, we got them right where we want them. This is what I say. We got them right where we want them. And who's we? We as a group got the situation right where we want them. We got the program and the team right where we're headed in such a good direction. It's why I'm so excited.
All right, Coach, I know your last time out wasn't great for you guys. You lost to St. Peter's, but St. Peter's is now 5-0 in the league. They have a big one against Fairfield tonight. That's your next opponent. What impressed you about what St. Peter's was able to do?
Well, what I said to Coach after the game, to Bashir after the game, is the respect I have for them doing it. They shoot 39% from the floor. They're shooting close to 30 from 3. They're not spectacular numbers, but here's what they are. They're the toughest team in the league. Now, we haven't played everybody, all right? But they win, I said the John Chaney way, which I love, obviously growing up in Philly. They win. They just out-tough you. They out-gritty you. I mean, look, we're not full force yet, but I watched all their games. I watched every basket that was scored against them. Everything is hard. It's why they've been so successful, in our league. They're not shooting it great. They're just out toughing you. So that's what I said to him in the handshake line after the game. I'm just so impressed. And if they get the shooting numbers higher, look out. I mean, he's done such a good job with that group.
And their opponent tonight, Fairfield, they are the number one offense in this league. How do you think St. Peter's can slow down what Fairfield does so well?
Well, obviously, I've studied Fairfield now, and I'm not going to give you every thing. What is Fairfield to me is just so explosive, right? They got two guys that could go for 40. They got, they just have an array of weapons coming at you. They got skilled guys. They got tough guys. They got perimeter shooting. They got on the rim. So Fairfield's very, very good. The thing that intrigues me about this matchup is if Fairfield decides to do what I think they do, switch 1 through 4, switch 1 through 5, I'm just interested to see how Fairfield attacks that. So it's a fascinating matchup. I'll watch it after this high school game I go to tonight. But I'm really fascinated with the league in general, coming from the America East. I spoke to Jay Young, I'd say a month ago about it. It's a fascinating league right now. Really is.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we love this league. And another team that is really interesting, and one of your recent opponents, Ryder, they play tonight against Niagara. Another one of your recent opponents. I mean, Mervyn James in that first half went for 21 points. He finished with 27. What makes him so great?
Well, he was knocking down threes. So I think he made 3 first half threes against us with a hand in his face. We're up 6 with a minute and a half, and we just didn't finish. You see what happens when you have a freshman at different spots, point guard, wing. Obviously, we didn't play Sadu in that game, but when you go against fifth-year guys that are 23, 24, it's why losing Rumpel was such a blow. Is the toughness. Mervyn James played with such grit and toughness in the game, and the only way you teach that is to go through it. It's why obviously I'm so excited about the group. And for where we are, you look at Ryder, Mervyn James. I mean, he's the most prolific scorer in our league right now. In my opinion, at the post spot, because he could score inside, outside. He could take you to 15. He could take you to 5. And now he's shooting it from 3 at a pretty good rate.
Yeah, and Ryder's bench maybe isn't super deep, but they have one of the most experienced starting 5s in the league. And then Niagara is another super experienced team, and they led you pretty much wire to wire in that game. What impressed you about what Niagara did that night?
There was a lot we did wrong, but there's a lot that they caused us to do wrong. So, we could start with our on-the-ball defense. We could start with a lot of little things that we didn't do well, but you must tip your hat when they spread us out. And obviously, it's no secret for us. We're having our 3-man right now. That's slot. That's why we have to move Sadu to the 3. Is people are just driving us from that spot. It's why we beat Bryant at Bryant. We beat Central at Central. Is we had the toughest guy in mid-major basketball, and Brett Rumpel. Brett Rumpel to me, and that's why in a weird way, we get him for 3 years. To me, I know we will be right there to win a championship the next 3 years because he's the best wing defender I maybe I've ever coached. So I know what our weakness is, and what Niagara did a great job was exploiting that weakness and going at our 3-man, whoever it was at that time. So it'll be interesting to see tonight the defensive matchup from Ryder, how they defend all the little wrinkles that Niagara runs.
Yeah, and the one team in the MAAC that you guys beat was Mountain St. Mary's, and that was a really exciting game that went all the way down to the wire. And tonight the Mount plays against Marist, which is another team that you've played against this year. I mean, what do you think you can look for between those two teams?
Oh man, I mean, Mount St. Mary's is so intriguing to me. They're like, they're just, if they put it together, they could be the most dangerous team come February. They got an array of scorers. They got bigs. They defend. They're really, I think they're well coached. I think, John Dunn at Marist has a extremely experienced team. That'll be a matchup to see, on the side ball screens. Does John Dunn ice the screens? Does he switch them? Does he hard hedge them? Because if he ices them, when you throw back the 4-man from Mount St. Mary's, Tinsley, does he drive it? Does he shoot it? And then how does Mount St. Mary's guard Marist tonight? And that's a very intriguing matchup for me because both teams present each other with matchup issues on both sides of the ball.
All right. And that's all the time we have. MAAC games start in just about 10 minutes. Thank you so much to Manhattan head coach John Gallagher for joining me. And thanks so much for coming on.
Sam, I appreciate it. Love the MAAC. Brings me back to my, when I was a young kid, I used to travel to all the MAAC games to watch LaSalle back when they were in the MAAC. So the MAAC is the best, as you said. It is the best league.
All right. Thank you, John Gallagher, and enjoy a great night of MAAC basketball.
Thanks, Sammy.